everybody, welcome back to the Bill and Ray Show. I'm out in the torch shop here, going to make another marble today. I'm going to incorporate two different fumed canes, one for the core and one to spiral around on the inside. Then we're going to do some backing, eventually get to red on the background. So let's fire up the torch and see what we can make. I'm going to start out with a 10mm blank. I tried doing this on a 8mm and couldn't see what I was doing, so see how this goes a little bit larger diameter. I want to start off with kind of a squared off section. This is going to be in the core, so I don't need very much of this, but this will wind up making quite a bit more than I'm going to use, just so that I can see what's happening. So I'll get some initial heat in a little section here. Flatten it one direction, go 90 degrees and go the other direction. Trying to make this kind of a square. Squish up this end a little. So this is kind of an experiment. And in this core piece, I'm just going to do a single layer of fume. I'm going to use both silver and gold. So we'll start let's see, actually we're going to start with gold first, I think, because this is going to be seen down the center. This is going to be the core piece. So we'll start with gold, and we'll get this flame a little bit more reducing, and see if we can get a little silver onto this. Okay. The reason I wanted it square is because by adding this clear in bands, it's going to change up the shape of that fuming into some kind of a pattern. We'll see what kind of pattern we come up with. So I want each one of these sides to wind up being pretty thick. But I want to leave the corners sticking out. So let's see what this will do. So stages like this, you're trying to get the glass to change up its geometry, and I want it to do it just naturally by its own properties of melting and flowing. And of course, give it a little bit of a spin. Just kind of hang loose here and let it just do a slight rotation. Okay, we are going to set this aside in the garage. Leave that end open. We'll look right down that center. Eventually, at the end of this marble, we'll see what's inside. I'll let this cool down for a second here. Okay. Now the other section is going to be concentric fume layers. So we're going to do fume on the round, case it, another layer of fume, case that. Let's see if we can pull this one off. This one we need a pretty good section here. again, we're going to be looking crossways through this, so we're going to put silver on the inside. And we're going to, before we go to the next step, we're going to just kind of cook that silver in, try and even it up. Make sure it's really fired into the glass. Now I wish I could just like dip this to get it just a consistent clear layer. But I'm going to try and do this just with some smaller 3mm rod. By just striping. Kind of helps to lift these shades so I can see a little better. So doing this kind of thing, the idea is to move the workpiece across the flame. So this piece of glass stays in the flame, stays kind of steady, and the workpiece comes up to it and just moves across. I think we're all the way around. I'll hang on to this for a minute while I melt that in. So this will probably get a little bit of a ribbing effect, but that's okay. Kind of straighten this up a little. So how's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's having a good day. It's still springtime in the Rockies here. Still dropped below freezing last night. It's been mostly sunny, but we've gotten some recent good moisture. It's great. Got some fresh snow up in the hills. You like to see that. I don't like to see it melt off too soon. Alright, that's real pretty the way it is right now. Already been out mowing the lawn a couple times. Not too long ago we saw a coyote in broad daylight walking through the field. Don't like to see them out in broad daylight. We've got our chickens out, free-range chickens. And we certainly don't need the coyotes to come in and nab chickens. These girls are all closed up in the coop and safe at night, but during the day they're kind of vulnerable. Okay, now we're going to chase over that again, just kind of like we did before. It feels like it's been a lot more freezing nights than I usually think we'd have this time of year. Going into May. You know, the occasional freeze is not unusual, but this has been kind of consistently dropping down to freezing at night. Yesterday I was busy brewing some beer, making another batch. I have an all-day operation. I do a all-grain version where I measure out the grains and run it through a mill. I don't have the right kind of mill to properly crush the grain. I'm actually using just a flour grinding mill set really loose to make a really coarse grind, but it unfortunately has a bit too much floury, really reduced down to flour, which is not ideal, but it works. I have a real simple setup. Mash in the grain in basically a cheap cooler with a drain hose, a perforated drain hose inside it. Somewhere in our videos, back some years ago, I did a video making beer. Well, people like to complain about the price of groceries and so on, but the price of beer has gone up quite a bit. But the price of making your own beer has not changed much at all. And we grow our own hops, so we don't have to pay for that. And I tend to use a couple pounds of honey in each batch, just because we have a lot of honey, which again is pretty expensive if you have to go out and buy it, but we get honey in payment for allowing commercial beehive operation to set up their hives on our property. Now, this is kind of an interesting fume piece here. So this is going to be just loosely spiraled onto the outer layer of this marble interior. And that's looking pretty clean, along the lines of what I hope to see. I have a little glass order for some random colors from a different manufacturer that I haven't used before, and I thought it was going to get here yesterday so I could use it in today's video, but it's supposed to be coming today, so that'll be fun to play with. So that'll be coming up in a future episode. Okay, those were the two fumed sections I wanted to do. And move on to getting our main clear rod ready to go. But it's always fun to get some different colors, something new. It's one kind of a big difference between the world of, well, even though the soft glass world has had some new players over the last couple decades, and we come up with lots of new colors all the time. The traditional Moretti glass, the fetchery now, that color palette, the bulk of that color palette has remained stable for a long time, but I don't use that kind of glass really anymore, and I still have quite a bit of inventory of it, and Ray uses that glass. So I'm not sure if I were to reorder the colors palette that I've got, because that's all I did for many years was soft glass, and I got a lot of different colors of that glass. This rod has a little bit of an airline on it. You'll find airlines make little bubbles. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. Okay, we got our initial gather here. We're going to take our first piece of fumed adventure. Now sometimes when I'm putting these pieces together, I'm trying to kind of mate it up gently, and I wish I could just like really push this in. I'm not sure if that's really a good idea. I'm going to try and sort of gently go for more of a push effect. Have a bit of a crease where this is connecting. Try and get that heat directed in there. Things are kind of flopping around in different directions here. settle down for a second here. So we can get it to not be quite so wiggly and wonky. So if I did this right, then I can still see down the core of that piece. I'm going to add this fume section around the exterior there. This cooled off, but see if we can heat this up. I don't think I want to use all of this, but it'll lay down a lot easier if it's preheated. Again, kind of letting this do its heating and transforming on its own. I'm going to pull off some of this extra here. Yeah, I could have pulled out that piece a little longer, a little thinner. I wanted it to be bulky. It's just looking a bit more bulky than I really intended, but I thought it would draw it out a little bit more as I wrapped it. These are all these little things that happen on the fly that it's like, oh yeah, it's exactly what I wanted. I meant it to be like that. And again, get it most of the way incorporated, and then I'm going to let it settle down. Like that. Do most of the fuming. Alright, this background, we want a dark color to get that fume to pop. So we've got some turbo cobalt. Roll in the frit there and let that actually kind of help shape it. Now we need our shades down, that's bright. Now that I'm seeing spots. Okay, it's looking cool. You just never know how those fume effects are going to fit together, how dense they're going to be, how much you're going to be able to see through it. So we'll just move on, hoping it does something pretty cool. Alright, then we're going to lay down a layer of red backdrop. Yeah. Kind of cranked up, and this red is not digging, being cooked too hard, too heavy. Back and fill in the blanks. Alright, let's heat this in, see where we're at. I keep it opaque there at the tip. Add some more glass and really make sure that's dense. Alright, now what are we going to do? Let's try before we do the back fill in, we'll do some silver fume. Another color that I'm going to use on the very back. This will help bring up some reflection, some light into that backing color. Certainly appreciate anybody that's hanging in there watching these videos. It means an awful lot to Ray and I to have support from our peeps. If it weren't for all you folks out there, I wouldn't be able to live here in Montana and do what I do. Okay, try and bring this filler glass right up to that transition line where the color switches to the front clear. Find my mug down here. I got a anatomy of a Vortex marble mug today. I kind of drew up this design and my wife does all the graphics work. She kind of put it together. The idea was kind of like the old world schematic diagrams of how things work. So it's kind of a throwback to old technical scientific type drawings from many, many years back. And there should be those mugs and t-shirt designs and all that good stuff is in the links below this video. Including links to our online Square store, our Etsy store, our marbles up on eBay. A little bit more. This layer, of course, bulking it up, so it has a lot to do with how large the final piece is. But it also has a lot to do with how the internal vortex geometry is going to play out. This is another step where the buildup of glass will transform from whatever odd shape it is to the back hemisphere. And it will kind of compress that cone. May distort it, blurring it somewhat. I think that's going to do it. If your handle is solid, like it is right now with this piece, actually rotating very slowly will get the heat into the glass a lot faster than if you're spinning quickly. So there's something I kind of learned some years ago, that certain things that I would make production kind of repetitive. Seems like if I would try hard to slow down, I was actually more productive. And now you can see after the heat base is built up and it's starting to flop around. So obviously you can't rotate too slowly when it's doing that. Alright, backing color time. Again, I try and just kind of ride that edge down here and give room for the next couple colors. And pushing into the workpiece with the stringer just a little bit. Making sure we have a nice wide path of color. And then we're going to do a red dragon's blood. And this will kind of vary. It should come out kind of a gem red, but there may be sections that are a little bit more opaque and more of a rusty. The dragon's blood. It's a nice red to work with. And then I've got an amber purple, but the red-based amber purple. This is Loci lipstick. I think that's what it's called. And I get kind of inconsistent color results from things like this. It may strike a couple of different ways it might go. Okay. Moving on. Need to heat up to crazy. Awesome. Okay, now I'll try and get this torch adjusted. That's why I'm got earphones on listening to music. Link in the description below. Torch is noisy. And I know these recordings get pretty noisy. But it's just the nature of the torch shop. The audio in these videos has actually been pretty heavily tweaked with equalizing and limiter, compressor. Yeah, see if we need to heal any of this up. Looks a little funky in here. Okay. Yeah, there's one effect I didn't put in there, but that's okay. I think I had enough going on. It's kind of cool there. So ideally, let this chill for a little minute before you switch sides. So next phase, you don't really want to disturb the core of the pattern, which is on this side of the marble now. So we're going to do more there. Okay, getting about ready to cut off our primary stock screw rod. Alright, I'm going to start tearing off excess glass and cleaning it up. That's where this bubble is hanging out. This is one place where, one reason why I just use a full hot seal bunty at this stage, because I'm pulling on this quite a bit. And it's not a lot of fun to drop it on the bench now. It's not ever that much fun. So you can actually see the difference in how the glass glows with the material that I'm pulling off, and like that was a little bright spot. Anything that looks inconsistent of this smooth, even glow is probably going to wind up looking like something in the finished piece that you don't want. So, one of the things I'm kind of picky about. Using a little fast spin to throw that center out. And run this on the L marver to barrel that, smooth that transition out. Then we go into chill down mode and get that core to settle down. It looks like some alien stuff in there. We've been watching X-Files lately. I got a feeling this marble has been influenced by my monsters on X-Files. Well, I can apologize if this is not your cup of tea. It's a little different. Okay, first strip in the marble mold. On the back side, I leave it kind of horizontal so the end sticks out. Trying to move that back shoulder, move it up to the center. Next shot will be a little bit more gentle and get it all the way up to And a lot of spinning. Now giving it some pressure. Little step by step. Change the shape. You have to be kind of careful when you're horsing around. Most all glasswork you use very light pressures, very light touch. But some phases where you are trying to apply a little bit of pressure, keep in mind that you're holding onto a glass rod that will break. It will snap right in two if you push hard enough. And in the process, it tends to break right where your fingers are and gives you a big nasty cut. That's only happened to me once, but I didn't like it. As far as the big nasty cut, I don't know. Probably had some rods break, but I didn't get seriously cut. At one time, it was a thicker rod. I mean, more like a 15 millimeter rod or something or other, and broke right in my hand. There may have been a heat affected zone that was stressed. And I left a pretty good gash in my fingers. And my wife, she did some paramedic first aid work. And she's not a certified paramedic or anything, but certified first aid. And she's my nurse whenever I have a big boo-boo that we determine we can handle it on our own, don't need to go to a doctor. And in that case, we were able to, it was a clean cut, so kept it clean, washed it out, kept it clean, monitored it a couple times a day. It healed up to the point where I don't even know which finger got hurt. I don't remember exactly. I just remember it was a deep cut that probably should have used stitches. But if I had gotten stitches, then I'd have a big old mark where the stitches are. As it is, I don't even know where it is. Healed up just perfect. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they would have used super glue if I went to the emergency room, but probably would have charged me $3,000 to put some super glue on it. So in the spirit of being self-employed and self-reliant, doing our own thing, take care of ourselves as much as we can. Well, this backside is done. Yeah, it's a little bit apple-shaped. The tip where the puntee is attached is kind of pushed in a little bit, but that'll come out once we transfer it over. Wow, this is definitely one of those I'll be excited to see this come out of the kiln, because I don't know what exactly it looks like right now. switching hands like that, you have to be really careful. You don't want to bump it on anything, because that might just knock that marble off the end if you really whack it with something. And I constantly rotate just out of habit, not just anything. Mostly that very end that needs to get healed up. So we kind of work on a temperature gradient where the top of the clear face is the hottest, and it transitions to maybe enough to wiggle a little bit at the color line. Put it in the mold gently, because it's going to introduce all kinds of wrinkles. And hopefully where that color is, it's more stable and didn't get hot enough to move much. But yeah, putting it into the marble mold causes problems. It helps fix the general shape, but it makes wrinkles. So then it's best to just do a real heat cycle and just do a couple steps, flame polish out the wrinkles. And then we're basically done. So again, I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying some spring activities. We're going to head over to Bozeman for Mother's Day. Hopefully that won't mess around with uploading a video, but it might. We'll see. Hopefully I'll get one up. Just watching reflections. Craziness. That's what making marbles is all about. Exploring a little bit of craziness, a little bit of fantasy. I'm not too big on trying to make realism, like a whole little ocean scene or something. I used to do some aquarium beads where I had little marine fish and little marine seaweed and stuff in there, and that was kind of fun. I made a few of those. I might fool around doing some marine and some of these marble builds eventually. Okay. There we go, let her loose. That should do it. Well, the sun is shining out there. Big clouds running around. They said it might snow today, but I don't think that's going to happen. So it was a great day to be out here in the torch shop. Glad to be sharing some of these adventures with you all. So whatever you're up to when you're watching this video, may it be a good one. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and we'll see you next time.